it just begs the question, why is art, when marketed, why is classical music, when marketed, always in its higher, it alludes to or evokes a higher socioeconomic status? It does. Hey, Adagers, welcome to the very first episode of Adage After Hours. So, in starting this After Hours series, I thought to myself, the content strategy for this channel has been educational about opera, right? But I think my past goal and my present goal has always been to make opera more accessible and to get more people interested. However, I don't have all the answers. So I think a more collaborative approach might be beneficial. So when I say collaborative, what do I actually mean? I mean, I have an idea and we all talk about it, sort of like a discussion group, you know? But me personally, I've always seen some sort of intersection between opera or classical music and pop culture. And finding those intersections or where those paths cross is so fascinating to me and it's so fun to pick out. So today we have our first topic. So I think sometime last week I got this incredible ad. I know, incredible ad. That sounds like an oxymoron. But I think a good ad targets the right people, and this ad definitely targeted me. Aritzia has a new collaboration with Juilliard in this new sort of back to campus campaign. So they have some new apparel specifically for returning back to campus. So it's more of the college student vibe, but adding in Juilliard puts this sort of classical music twist to it. So of course I got this ad. I'm a music student who will be coming back to campus. And yes, I'm looking for new pieces to add to my wardrobe. Now, I talked a little bit about why I liked this ad so much on, I think, either my TikTok or my Instagram. I'll put the video somewhere in here. So, Aritzia has partnered with Juilliard, and I must say, as a music curator, I am thrilled. I really like the way the ad was done using real Juilliard students, and it got me thinking. In past campaigns where there has been the incorporation of the arts in some sort of way, there sometimes is a little bit of friction. And the most notable sort of campaign type that I can think about is the incorporation of ballet into ad campaigns, brand campaigns. Now, in the past, I would say like 2010s, maybe before that, what companies would do is instead of hiring actual ballet dancers, they would get models to sort of attempt ballet moves in a somewhat sort of dangerous way sometimes. And I think they're either this Instagram account is active or inactive, but there's a whole Instagram page dedicated to models doing ballet poorly. Now, it's not the model's fault. They're being hired for a job. However, a lot of people in the ballet community took offense to this, rightfully so, because it's portraying an art form that they hold so close to themselves and so dearly. They're portraying it in a somewhat frivolous way, not paying attention to details, not taking care of the models, no regard for their safety, because some of these ballet moves, if you're not trained to do them, you could hurt yourself. So there was that sort of backlash. Now, in more recent years, there have been campaigns that actually incorporate real ballet dancers. I can't remember the one off the top of my head, but I think there's one. Oof, what is that thing called? Essie? Elsie? Chelsea? Okay, anyway. But there was a brand that incorporated dancers from either the New York City Ballet or the American Ballet Theater. I know the dancers from both companies get so annoyed when they get mixed up, but I'm pretty sure they used dancers from the American Ballet Theater, and it was to sort of emulate some Degas paintings, if I have that correctly. The response to when real artists are used to portray a certain art form is so much better, at least from the people who actually do that art, right? So, in this campaign, when they used real music students instead of people pretending to play instruments, that was incredible. And it really felt more authentic. And I think it added to the overall aesthetic. I think aesthetic is one of the main themes of this video and what I'm seeing across both campaigns. Now, with the incorporation of ballet dancers real ballet dancers into brand campaigns, ad campaigns. We've also seen the rise of something called ballet core. Now, ballet core is a type of aesthetic. It's the aestheticization of ballet. And my main question is aestheticization a tool for accessibility? Is aestheticization a method of accessibility? Because once something becomes an aesthetic, now anyone can adopt it. You don't have to be a ballet dancer to participate in ballet core, because ballet core isn't just dance or ballet. It's inspired from ballet, and it manifests in clothing, in music, in the events that you like to go to. There's a whole new broader section that the general public can participate in. And so on the one hand, that's very good. That's amazing. I mean, me personally, my channel is all about accessibility for the arts, more specifically opera, but the classical arts at large. But recently there was some discourse on TikTok about how the use of ballet core or the rise of ballet core has sort of diminished some of the actual work that real ballet dancers put into this art form. So I'll play the specific video that may have gotten a little misconstrued, but I think those are some valid points.
I saw this other creator talk about on here how ballet is like a new niche, meaning like all the aesthetic girlies are just over here like, look at me, I'm taking my little ballet class. And they have the little wrap tie, grip Pilates ballerina flat, like a tie ballet skirt. And they make videos or selfies like, on my way to ballet. Trying to make it cutesy and glamorous. And it's kind of this overall vibe of like, a ballerina, being a ballerina is so fun, da 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 da. And it is genuinely so funny to me. I am an actual professional ballerina. I cannot tell you guys how far from the truth that is. Baby, being a ballerina is not glamorous. Let me tell you what being a ballerina actually looks like. Number one, you spend hundreds and thousands of hours trying to perfect one position. One position. I wish I was exaggerating. You are in the studio for 6+ hours a day, sweating, looking disgusting. Your hair is a mess. You have a receding hairline from pulling it back into a French twister bun. Smell horrible. You have holes in your tights. Your leotard's falling apart. Also, either constantly crying about casting, or you're crying because you are so injured that it literally hurts to walk. And do not even get me started about the feet. You have disgusting, nasty bunions, the world's worst blisters and corns. You keep your point shoe hanging off your heel because simply you can't stand wearing your point shoe correctly because it hurts so badly from your blisters and all the other things. Your toenails are bruised, they're falling off. You have someone at the front of the room screaming at you, telling you that you're not good enough. And sometimes you cry yourself to sleep at night just because you stood profile to the mirror at bar that day and you were having a fat day. If you know, you know. And all of that just to make anywhere from $300 to $1,200 a week. Like this whole aesthetic of like the ballerina aesthetic is not reality. But as far as being an actual ballerina, there's quite literally nothing aesthetic about that.
Does the aestheticization of an art form, well, what are the pros and cons? Pros, it leads to accessibility. More people can participate. The general public feels like they have some sort of relationship with the base art form. On the other hand, people who have dedicated their lives to this art form may feel a certain type of way. Now, obviously, there are people on the artist side who feel no type of way, who are happy that their art is being shared and enjoyed by more people. So when we come back to the Aritzia and Juilliard discussion of it all, I absolutely see the rise of music student corps because of this brand partnership. If you look at the clothing on the website for this Back to Campus campaign, it's not just regular clothes for coming back to campus. It's sort of preppy. I get more of a preppy vibe and a vibe that leans a little bit more into light academia and dark academia. And why is that? We could open this into a whole new discussion of why is classical art, classical music or classical art, so performance art or visual art, whatever, why is that associated with more of a preppy, classy, somewhat heightened socioeconomic status? And before we continue that conversation, I want to pivot to something a little bit of an adjacent category or adjacent topic. So last year, I had seen a lot of media campaigns of the sort for the Metropolitan Opera trying to, well, it was a brand campaign for the Metropolitan Opera trying to get a younger audience into their shows. I assume it's a younger audience because they were using influencers to do this. So there was a whole influencer marketing campaign that the Metropolitan Opera used, And if you look across some of these videos, the format is very similar. It's in line with romanticizing your life and having a nice aesthetic night out and getting dressed up to go to the opera. I mean, you just have to see the videos and you'll get it. And I completely understand why that is. I think along with the aestheticization of ballet and just aesthetics overall, there's also been this shift towards romanticizing your life as well. And what does romanticizing your life look like? It means making the little things so much more special. It means dressing up just to go to the store. It means doing something new and going to the opera and indulging in the full experience. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I actually think that's a very creative marketing strategy. It just begs the question, why is art, when marketed, why is classical music, when marketed, always in its higher, it alludes to or evokes a higher socioeconomic status? It does. The classical music student aesthetic, in the lens of Aritzia, is preppy. The preppy aesthetic came from that upper middle class or lower upper class, but that suburban preppy lifestyle that has a higher socioeconomic status. The marketing for the Metropolitan Opera campaign is in line with trying to evoke a higher socioeconomic status. So, while this marketing campaign can exist, at the same time, opera companies are also saying, hey, come as you are, you don't need to dress up X, Y, and Z. So I feel like the messaging can get a little mixed up sometimes. But honestly, I don't really have any conclusions. I don't think it's good or bad. I just think it can be a little confusing. Going back to the aestheticization of art in order to make it more accessible, I honestly think that it's a really clever branding strategy, a clever marketing strategy. It's clever, or maybe it was clever for like 2025, 2024, because I really think that's when the height of romanticization, that's when it reached its peak. But on the other side of things, the general public is tired of seeing exorbitant amounts of wealth.
Everything my husband got me for Christmas. So the main thing I got this year was a pair of diamond studs.
Another luxury haul, another luxury influencer, proving that happiness costs $10,000 a day. And making us question our life choices. Because at the end of the day, wealth has to be flashy, but not relatable.
Given the state that the average, let's say, American is in right now, people are struggling with student loans, employment, job security, securing housing, rent is crazy for most people. So I think there is going to be a general shift. There's going to be a move away towards an overt display of an aesthetic that reads as being of a higher socioeconomic status. Because while yes, aesthetics are all fun and games, and romanticization is all fun and games for people who do not have the lifestyle that they want yet. That's, I really think, what romanticization or that movement, romanticization movement on TikTok, I think that's who it was intended for. But when you see rich people cosplay rich when they are rich, it's not really the same. That is a discussion for an entirely different day. I say all this to say, the Aritzia Juilliard brand campaign, 1, excited me, 2, left me with a lot of questions about how this sort of campaign will implicate the future of classical music in the general public. I truly think if this campaign gets large enough, it could give rise to the music student aesthetic. But right now, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are talking about it. I mean, last night I did a quick You know what the funny thing is? When you want to, like, get sources for this sort of topic, your source is TikTok. Like, if you wanna be on the pulse of culture, you're looking things up on TikTok and Instagram, not finding a peer-reviewed article, which is so different for someone like me who has a neuroscience degree and has had to do research through peer-reviewed sources and scholarly articles. So I digress, but when I did my search on TikTok and Instagram last night, I didn't see a whole lot of accounts talking about the Aritzia Juilliard campaign. Honestly, my video was the first to come up. If my video was the first to come up, then not a lot of people are talking about it because, hey, you see where we are. We have a small account. Honestly, if the campaign gets larger, I do see the rise of the music student aesthetic. If they're able to partner with influencers to really push this aesthetic and have more influencer marketing strategies and really get it to the general public, and if really famous influencers can adopt this style using Aritzia's pieces, then I absolutely see the rise of the music students aesthetic. And so my conclusions are aesthetics are not inherently bad. Aestheticization and romanticization can lead to more accessibility to some of the more older art forms. So, ballet, opera, classical music, those sort of things. And there are implications for the romanticization, given how the general public's attitudes towards extreme wealth are at the moment. And I wonder how opera companies and classical music venues and ballet companies are going to adjust to this. And I also wonder what you guys think about all of this. Because I'm only one person, only one voice. I don't know everything. I just have a lot of thoughts. So comment down below. Do you think the rise of the music student aesthetic is actually going to happen? And also, are there merits or drawbacks to the aestheticization of the music student? Let me know. And this has been our first episode of Adage After Hours. We did it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of Adage After Hours. Let me know what other content you want to see on this channel. Like, comment, subscribe. That's so generic. Like if you like this video, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you ever want to see me again. And that's really dramatic, actually. While I workshop this outro, just do what you want to do. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.